I did not cut anything out of what was requested from the athletic directors. Any questions? That line item does include the line item 435, does include the Parks and Rec contract for the lawn services for Rich Clarko at $45,300. Line 442 on page 49, rental of equipment and vehicles. This line covers graduation equipment. So the graduation equipment are drill hammers, staging, and chairs for $13,000, a sound system for $3,000, and portable bathrooms are also in there. It doesn't necessarily have to do with graduation because those are actually for the maintenance shed and the athletic fields. We have not looked into purchasing graduation equipment for several reasons. One, we have to store it. We don't have enough storage as it is right now. Number two, there's actually a licensed company, and you have to have a license to set up the staging that we're talking about. My understanding is in the past, we didn't have a licensed company doing it, and the staging wasn't put together correctly, and somebody fell off the stage. We don't want that. We want to have a licensed contractor putting together this type of staging for us to make sure that it is safe and appropriate. So it is not something we would consider. We have our bus bids in. We're in the process right now of finalizing a contract. We did budget a 10% increase. It looks like it will come in under that, although we are still in contract negotiations. So I'm not changing the number yet, but once we have a final contract, I'm hoping to be able to reduce that line item a little bit.
Did we discuss with them about the calendar change as well yet, or do you haven't approached that with them yet?
The calendar change has been discussed, and it doesn't have any impact.
Okay, good.
The possible calendar change. There was a decrease in instructional supplies of $40,000. My department coordinators are here tonight, they'll speak to it. I have budgeted for what they've asked for. And what I appreciate is, I know in the past, people used to, I think that, well, I asked for $10,000 in this line last year, I'm gonna have to ask for it again this year because I don't want it to go away. The way that we budget is you ask for in any given year what you need. And if that's what you need in that year, we'll move that forward. If you don't need it, don't ask for it. And so the budget has been pulled together by the department coordinators. They've asked for what they need, and that's what they need. Okay, the decrease in nursing and athletic supplies of $9,500. Again, I budgeted for what was asked for. I did not make any changes in this line item. And the things that are not in there this year that were in there last year happen to be replacement uniforms. And it's not in a cycle for them to be replaced, so that's primarily the largest change in that area.
Some of the feedback I got about that too, especially with pay to play, where the seventh graders were wearing uniforms, not new uniforms, and just something to note, because maybe that's something to consider is how do the uniforms get cycled, especially with the controversy around pay to play, and if you're not wearing a new uniform or an obviously older uniform, you know, is there a cycle for that can be presented to parents?
I believe there is, but that's also something that I will be asking the athletic director to take a look at as they come in and inventory and take a look at what we currently do.
I have one back, and I'll follow up, so,
One slide back to me?
Yeah, you don't have, thank you, one slide back. You don't have to, answer this now fully, but, I went to parent conferences last week, and it was just very impressive, and once again, some of the classes we saw at program committee were kind of shared, and it was all very positive, and they're just incredibly exciting. And I'm hoping that if there are things that department coordinators want, like, for instance, was to have some kids explore some legislative work, or I don't know if there are costs associated with those kinds of things or not, and I understand that people have asked for what they've asked for, but it sounded like there was something about the brain, a neurology or brain or something class.
Neuroscience class.
Okay, and then there was another like advocacy one that I heard some
First
really
century citizen.
great things about, but then I know along with the strategic plan, we're always looking to be engaged with the community and outward things. And last year, I think you gave the message, which was great to people, to ask for, you know, what they needed. So I just hope that, I guess they haven't, that they didn't, and I haven't heard otherwise, but that they didn't just think we've got to come in with a low number or something. But just, I'll follow up with that.
To piggyback on that question, the AED in the public area between the gym and the auditorium. So again, the cost of a new AED machine, bag, wall box, pads is approximately $2,200. I know you can probably get one cheaper that's been refurbished. We've bought refurbished technology in the past, and I don't believe in doing that. I don't think it's worth the money. So it would be approximately located 25 feet from the current one. The nurses are by policy in charge of the AED machines. They've looked at them. They've actually said to me again, they are happy with where they are. We have science coming that will direct people. And when you look at the area, it literally is around the corner from the auditorium, not even, I think, 10 feet around the corner where the current AED is located. And we'll have a sign to be able to direct people there. But when you look at the area where the auditorium and the gym is, there's not a lot of wall space that's appropriate to put an AED machine there as well, because you want it to be set in like the one is that is around the corner, so that it's not going to be bumped by people, that it's not in the way. It has to be at a certain height to be ADA compliant. So at this point, nobody has made the recommendation, the nurses have not made the recommendation that they want that moved, and or a new one, but we also just have purchased the signs for that will be up soon. So I feel as though that has been addressed, and we can take a look if we really feel in the future that that's something that still continues to need to be addressed. Okay, this is around the cooking class, the family consumer class, and so what are other schools doing in regards to consumer science? It is an area that continues to decrease and not continue in many schools. The cooking class was not a requirement for graduation. Part of what we're doing is we're starting to make changes beginning at the middle school, with looking at changing our program there to address social emotional learning, personal finance, and nutrition. That actually came from the department coordinator as a suggestion for something that would be better addressing the needs of the students. And then to follow that up at the high school, we actually have, as Judy was just talking about, the program has seen this as new electives, the health and wellness elective, that would again provide students with another way of looking at how can they be use health and wellness information to better take care of themselves, as well as other electives that will allow students to be hands-on, to be able to learn in different ways, to be able to collaborate and communicate with each other. So we also have a retiring teacher. This is a very, very difficult area to find certifications in. We're trying to do it right now with the absence that is happening, unfortunately, mid-year in that field. There are just not people out there. So looking at the fact that we have 44 students that took Foods 2 this year, 104 took Foods 1. Not all 104 took Foods 1 because they really wanted to take Foods 1, but it was the elective that fit into their schedule at the time when they needed to take an elective. And some of them really did take it because they really loved it. But when you take a look at the number of students that follow forward with Foods 2, it's a much lower number of students. We currently are only offering Computer Science 1 because we just don't have enough teaching spaces in the schedule to offer number 2. And we do have students that I'm sure would like to do that, as well as additional computer programming classes. So given all of that, we are making the change to looking at computer science and computer programming and other types of areas moving forward. I've had the best coaching experience at the high school and middle school this year with Eric and Tiffany working together as instructional coaches for technology. They really have done a wonderful job of pushing into classrooms, trying to work with teams of teachers, working with departments, and bringing ideas around technology into the classroom. We also are hitting a little bit of a saturation point, and knowing though that technology continues to evolve consistently, and we're always going to want to be updating that. I don't feel as though we need the level of coverage that we currently have moving forward next year. That Eric would still be able to have a period to be able to do that, but looking to actually contract with EastCon to have Tiffany or somebody else come and provide additional support around technology, professional development when we need it, but contracting 2 positions to be in the building all the time is just not a necessity at this point. From the feedback that I'm getting, they've done a great job, they've been amazing, but we just don't need that much.
I apologize, what's Tiffany's? I don't-
Tiffany Smith.
Thank you.
There was a clarification in the budget book where we have the outline of the personnel. It's just the way that we classify it based on the certifications that the state requires us to have for reporting purposes. So there was a question, who's under trades and industry and who's under technology education? That information is right there for you. The 2 full-time subs are in line 157 under long-term subs. And that's it for me.
I just want to say, I had, and I didn't even know I met her, but I met Tiffany briefly, and she was telling me how we were aligning better with the elementary schools with Tiffany Smith, which is great to hear because that's been a huge. Yeah, Pat would know that. I don't know that. I didn't even know it was her, to be honest.
I'm not sure what Tiffany is doing with the elementary schools, but I know she works at EastCon and works with a variety of schools in the area, so my assumption would be that she might be.
Okay. So nobody has any questions, so we're ready to move on?
So I'm happy to present half of our department coordinators here today and one of our district directors in technology. But Greg will start. They've got 3 slides where they're going to talk about, first of all, their goals as within their departments, because I think that's important for you to know what they're focusing on, how it relates to their budget, and any other information. They will try to keep their presentations under 5 minutes. I think nice and focused for you. So, Greg, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Greg Lachance, I'm the math coordinator. Our goal for our department this year is to focus on encouraging problem solving and perseverance, something we think is very important in math. Make sure that the students have the tools they need to work through the problems that maybe aren't problems they've seen before, and they'll be able to solve problems they encounter in the future. This is in line with our district strategic plan, which has to do with engaging in a variety of learning opportunities, developing skills, competencies, and dispositions, such as critical thinking, which includes problem solving, and motivation. So those are some of the concepts that are in our skills and dispositions that we've developed this semester as a faculty. So you'll notice a significant line item is the textbooks. The pre-calculus textbooks really need to be replaced. We have been using a jam. Pre-calculus, graphical data analysis, 2001, second edition. We love it. But they're tired. We're kind of depleting the store of used textbooks naturally at this point. And the new, this is second edition, the new one is seventh edition. So it'll be kind of in line with getting away from the brick phone, the examples, talking about the future in 2005, and plus it'll be good to have them there actually together. So we really feel it's important. We've done a lot of text rate upgrades and done newer textbooks in the middle school and high school, and really this is one of the last remaining ones. We are continuing to increase our graphic calculator inventory, and they're used by students in classes. They're also used quite extensively in the SAT, PSAT of middle school and high school. So we don't have enough of those. So it would be nice if we could have every classroom have a class set. And we've gotten a number now, but not quite every classroom. So we asked for more of those. We asked for standard supplies for math class. Who can live without protractors and rulers, right? Graph paper, etc. We also provide our students with opportunities for outside experiences. So multiplayer options is a UConn experience for young women to learn about careers in engineering and sciences. We have STEM night, where we bring 8th grade students to the Science Center. That's also staffed by UConn engineers. We have the AMCA contest, which is when we do that every year in November. That's a national contest that all the honor students in 7th and 8th grade take. The financial reality fair, we're hoping to increase that to a full blast. Right now it's mainly level 2 and 3 students, including some geometry classes and algebra 2 classes, as well as students who are in our school career math class. And they go to Hartford and actually learn what it means to live on a budget. And they even do things like throwing the die. They're lucky or not lucky. Pick a career, get a salary, they have worksheets, so it's a really good experience for them. And I'm really proud of our growth in the math team this year. We've been fully staffed and extra for every meet. We have 7 varsity meets. We have 4 JV meets. Kids have gone to all of them, including a full official team, lots of unofficial students who are officially as well. We had a 10 times increase in the participation math team this year versus last year. And we also have software in the budget for Alex for intervention enrichment, Infinite software, which develops worksheets used across all courses, and Albert for all our AP classes. And these are some of the items we're proud of. We're proud of our SAT and PSAT results. And we hope to continue to improve and be strong in those areas. I'm extremely proud of our AP participation. We're probably among the top as far as percentage of AP students. We're on the order of about 100 participants in AP for calculus and statistics each. Huge amount of EC kids, unfortunately. And the AP Computer Science Principles class we had last year increased by a factor of 3. So we're up to about 30 students this year, where we only had 11 last year. And I expect that to increase as well. We have some tablets in the budget for that. We don't forget the students who need support. We have our title math program in the middle school. We have math labs in middle school, high school, and math for success at the high school level. There's our new t-shirt logo for math team. Did you get it? Yeah.
The 9, 7, 6. Where you at?
Well, I was 6 afraid of 7. Why was 6 afraid of 7?
The 8.
The 7, 8, 9. Grandmath squad. Yeah. Bottom right are a couple of math events and computer programming development. Questions?
The calculators, are they for just the high school or for the middle and high school?
The middle school borrows them, And I'm hoping next year, I think we'll be okay after this year with the high school, and I'm hoping to get more for the middle school next year.
Do we have to buy them this year? I bought one this year.
Right. Most students buy them, but we also loan them out. I mean, the amount of calculators we have compared to the number of students we have is very small.
Oh, it's not a requirement then?
It is a requirement, but
Oh.
we also have students in classes where they're not required to have it, but they still need them for the SAT and PSAT. So they need to have some experience with them. So they're able to use them in class, but they don't use them all the time. So it's not required for classes. Generally, level 1 classes and honors classes require TI-84 calculators.
Yeah.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, don't worry.
I'm excited. I'll have it forever. I don't even know how to turn it off.
Shift on.
I don't even, you know what? I don't know. Ask my son. He knows how to turn it off.
Any questions?
I have a comment. Several of us received some input into our strategic plan, and I love that word, perseverance, because someone was asking how we not only ensure that whatever our, struggling students, our middle of the road students, but our very top students keep going along, and I think that that's such a worthy goal is perseverance in mathematics.
We want to challenge all our students and encourage them to not just give up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
So I'm Mary Rose Mead, and I'm the coordinator for the English department. We have 22 members of our department. We offer 27 different courses between the 22 of us. These courses range from remedial to 4 courses that offer college credit or AP credit. So I just want to start a little bit with our goals, literacy and engagement. Our goal in the classroom is to make sure that we're engaging students and we're giving them opportunities to own their learning. We really want our students to be completely engaged and involved with class lessons. The sort of sage on the stage, teacher at the front of the classroom is a thing of the past. And we know that by them being engaged, they're going to be able to gain skills that they can then transfer when they move outside of our class, they move outside of the school, whether it's a military, a job, or to higher ed. So we really believe very strongly that this is something we want to be committed to, and so we have things in our budget to support that. We also want to foster literacy, innovating and using research-based practices. Now it seems silly to say, of course, in English department, you're going to have literacy as a goal. But we're really expanding the way that we think about literacy. We're not just having students read a fiction book and then write a report as it used to be. Students are really engaging in all kinds of writing. We're pairing fiction with nonfiction. We're bringing in themes that are contemporary so that students are thinking about their world and reading about their world, whether it's in fiction or nonfiction. And we've also built in the speaking part of literacy. We know how important that is for students when they graduate, that they can speak in interpersonal communication, but they can also get up in front of a group and share their ideas. And so that, we've really broadened that concept of literacy, and so we're really looking for ways to support those goals. So our budget requests really circulate around those goals. I'm looking for trade paperbacks and the continuous use of both newer contemporary materials and also replacing some of the classics that are so important, that carry those themes, that let students know that the way that human beings experienced life 200, 300, 1,000 years ago, those essence of humanity is still within us today. We're looking for textbooks for the MCC Communications 173 course. That's a college credit course that we are articulating with MCC. We have 1 class set. We offered in the fall 3 sections of that course. We have 2 this semester, and we have 2 teachers, so they were literally carrying sets of textbooks in between classes. That class has become incredibly popular. The books that we do have, we have about 24 left, so even now they're sharing in class. And so that is something that's really important to keep that class running with fidelity. Our instructional materials, online software, especially to support some of those students that are struggling
in reading and writing. So for the adaptive reading course, we have Read Naturally. We're looking at the Pearson online writing platform to help students improve their writing skills. Instructional supplies to engage students. The giant Post-it, I don't know if you came into the conference periods you see in the classrooms, those giant Post-it notes filled with students thinking on display. And that's really part of that engagement process, and having students collaborate together on something and then having it be visible in the classroom. And so having those as part of our program is very important. And also periodicals, some of which are included in the budget and some of which have been moved to the Media Center budget as well. We do have community resources that have supported our program. Douglas Library has donated books, as has the library here in Marlborough. We are lucky because we participate in Poetry Out Loud program, so we actually benefit from the Connecticut Office of the Arts materials, and the actually outline of this slide are 15 of our 20 finalists for Poetry Out Loud. We have over 100 students participate. They each memorized 2 poems that they learned and read, and they let sort of get into their skin, and then 20 finalists went and performed their poems in front of about 150 of their peers. And then we had a school winner and runner-up that will, the winner will go to the state competition in March. And so the Office of the Arts has been a supporter for us, and we are a beneficiary of their materials. We also had a teacher write a grant for the Mohegan Tribe Challenge grant, and we won that grant. And she also won the Fund for Teachers grant and traveled and did research out west. So we continue to look for ways to support our programming. Judy will be very happy. I asked for what I needed.
Okay.
I think, you know, I just some really quick perspective. I found old budgets from around 2004 up until 2009, and I almost passed out because they were in excess of $30,000 for the middle and high school department. And last year we had about $4,300 to spend, and the year before that, actually no, the year before that was about $9,000. And then this year's around $5,700. We've been trying really hard to keep within a reasonable amount and asking what we need. We've been fortunate to ride the wave of those previous years of spending in the early 2000s, but like with the iconic textbook that keeps getting brought to the budget meetings, things are starting to fall apart, and we also want to be sure that we're able to innovate. And it's hard to do that when you have just the same materials and are taping them together. And in terms of how we're engaging our students and the ways that we're trying to make everything very relevant for them, you can see, I think you've all seen the Rambler, which is the publication that comes out every month. It's an outstanding publication. The students are doing real journalism in this piece. We have our literary magazine that comes out every single year with poetry, short stories, and art. We've had students win contests for their writing, and there's a few pictures also here of the students just engaged in real life kinds of activities within the classroom. And so our budget is really laid out to support critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and those things that will help our students be successful when they graduate from high school. Are there any questions?
I might have to have one. So do they do any of the reading on their Chromebook?
You know,
E-books, or we doing?
yes, actually. So if we have something, for example, I'll post PDFs on Classroom, especially if it's a shorter nonfiction piece. One reason that's a little bit difficult, depending on what the assignment will be, is that we're often asking students to annotate, to write in the margins, underline, circle. You can do some of that online, but in terms of the kind of work we're asking them to do with text, it's very hard to do it. Reading on a Chromebook is almost like a digital scroll, you know, like the Middle Ages. And so we want them not just to skim. We really want them to dig in and do the close reading and really understand the information. And so for that reason, if it's something we're really looking for them to dig into, we generally try to have something where they can put sticky notes on it if it's a book, or if it's a handout, they can annotate.
And just a comment to say, I get great conversations about my daughter's English classes. And the other day she said, why don't you read this with me and we'll interpret together? And I thought, oh, I'm kind of busy. My daughter's assigning me English homework.
Yeah, it is exciting. I mean, I love walking through the department and seeing, every time I walk by a classroom, there's students up, they're presenting, they're working in small groups, they're really engaged, and it's really exciting. It's an exciting place to be. When I think back to my high school years, sitting and listening to somebody talk about, the preponderance of the metaphor, our students are discovering those on their own. And it's incredibly exciting because I know that when they launch beyond our high school walls, they're going to be able to do this wherever they go.
I would just say that, and I know it's many departments, but the amount of writing that the kids do, I think, just prepares them so extremely well for college, that and the guidance that the teachers provide is just perfect. Whatever you said, that sage on the stage thing or something, they give them guidance, but they push them too, so that's.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our goal.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. I believe next is Jennifer.
Still working on our department logo. And the history of ours. Okay, so I apologize in advance for the verbiage up here. My hope is that you folks would have had an opportunity to view it in advance, so I could try to be as transparent as possible. With respect to our goals, we really are still looking to support all facets of student learning, and whether it's through procuring funds for providing different modality tools for learning for like some of our site classes, but also reaching out to our students who are struggling learners. We've largely moved away from the textbooks for our traditional non-AP classes, and so a lot of it is additional and supplemental sources. So we do always kind of look for opportunities to bring in primary sources, but abridged versions, stuff that are more user-friendly for a number of our students. This year we are asking for textbooks for the AP government class. We're going into our 3rd year of running this course. We've done it without a textbook for the last 2 years. It's really, really difficult. We're finding that a lot of the documents that are available online are for the college courses. They're not abridged or for exam prep that we really need for our students. My instructor's doing an incredible job with a wealth of information and providing it for the students, but they're overwhelmed. It's incredibly cumbersome. The exams have really changed for the social science disciplines. They're no longer just all of the large volumes of content and multiple choice. It's a lot of scenario based, a lot of passage readings with questions that not only just require textual analysis, but they also bring in outside like sort of learning and materials as well. And our kids are struggling in that sense. Like our scores are good, but they could be a lot better if they had a sort of centralized location for those documents.